Hello and welcome back to the Tea and Soju C Drama Podcast, your safe spot for C drama chatter. I'm your host Liliana, and it's time to sit back, grab your tea, and let's chat Asian dramas. In today's episode, we are going back to the genre series and to a genre that wasn't necessarily a favorite of mine in the past, but now has truly become probably one of my all-time favorite genres, and that is the historical genre. I think it's one of the best genres within Chinese drama land, so we're going to go through some of those. So, just before we get into the episode, some housekeeping. If you like the podcast, please like, share, and subscribe on the platform you listen on. That really helps the podcast reach other listeners. For more content, check out Patreon, where you can find behind the scenes, first impressions, movie reviews, and more. Finally, if you would like to chat to me or find a community, check out Discord, Instagram, and other socials. The link is in the episode notes. So, with the intro out of the way, we can get right into the episode. But before I do that, guys, I do have a little bit of a cold. So if my voice sounds a little bit funny or anything like that, that will be the reason. I hope I'm going to be okay to record the full episode. But we will just have to hope and see how it goes. So I wanted to go through for historical dramas. To start off the episode, I kind of wanted to go through how I categorize my historical dramas. Now, this is not official, guys. This is not like I've gotten this out of, a proper website or anything like that. This is just how I personally categorize them, because I believe they are, can be slot into different categories, and it's just easier to keep them straight in my head. So basically the first one is like what I call the historical political dramas. These are dramas that are more heavily focused on in court politics, with romance sometimes being a focal point or not. So these dramas can either have romance or not. It's kind of a take it or leave it kind of situation. And they will definitely be focused on a lot of in-house or in-court politics. Now, this can sometimes also be, when I say in-house, I mean like concubine politics, or where you have, say, the main wife having to deal with a lot of concubines and whatnot, and having to go through that situation. And those are kind of politics in a way as well. They're just a different kind of politics, rather than old ministers and emperors and lords having to deal with politics. So I feel like there is quite a clear distinction between the two, but that's just how I like to, categorize those dramas. And then, so basically, when I go into like my picks and what I would suggest, I will kind of put them into my own categories, so you guys can sort of get an idea of, if you're in the mood for that type of historical or not. Because I find some people are a little bit intimidated by historical dramas. I used to be, when I first started watching Chinese dramas, I would be a bit intimidated by big dramas like, say, The Story of Minglan, or, Nirvana in Fire, which are very, very classic Chinese dramas, and they are big dramas, but they also take a little bit more time and effort on, the watcher's part to kind of keep up with it, because there's a lot of characters, a lot of moving pieces, and sometimes that's just not what we're in the mood for. Sometimes we just want something we can sort of turn our brains off to and enjoy. So I think that's perfectly acceptable. I am not going to be talking about any big classic Chinese dramas in this one, but we will be doing reviews on, older Chinese dramas in season 3, and I'm very excited to go into those. Although there won't be a lot of them, because, guys, they are extremely long. I mean, Minglan is 73 episodes. There's another one that I really want to watch, but it is 86 episodes. So they take a long commitment, and it might take me, 2 or 3 months just to watch one of those dramas, because I obviously have to keep it in, in line to all the other dramas that I'm watching in the meantime. So all of that to say, I will be watching some more other classic ones this year as well, but I won't be talking about them, in this one. So the next one up, like of my categories, would be something that I call historical light. These are the dramas that aren't heavy. I don't know what I've written, clearly. Let me start that again. These are dramas that aren't that heavy. They are easy watches, and the politics are kept to a minimum. So, in a historical drama, there will always be a bit of politics. There will always be some sort of shenanigans happening. That's just how historical dramas kind of work. And I think there is those that are very heavily focused on politics, so that would be my historical political category. But then there are those that are just barely scratching the surface, and those are kind of like something like The Romance of Tiger and Rose. I would consider that a historical light because they are in historical period dramas, but it's all like a fantasy world in a sense. It's not truly based on any dynasty or anything. It's influenced, but it's not based on it. So I think that's what I think of when I think historical light. So there, then I have what I call just the costume historical dramas. These are historical dramas that are in Hanfu, but almost just feel like a modern drama wearing Hanfu. So something for this would be The Eternal Love, and that is one, not, I don't mean 10 Miles of Peach Blossoms, I mean the other Eternal Love. And that one is kind of like the girl travels back in time, and it's all very make believe of a story, so there's a lot of modern aspects to it, but they are in period costume or in Hanfu. So that's kind of like my categories. Now you might be asking yourself, Liliana, what about the xianxia? What about the wuxia? Now, I think wuxia would be considered historical for me. And guys, again, this is not accurate. I did not research this. This is just how I class them in my mind. Okay. So, I know some people might be screaming at me and saying, but that's not correct. Look, that's just how I categorize them. I don't necessarily, categorize xianxia as a historical. For me, a xianxia is fantasy. It is different. It is a different category of its own. And as a little aside, I will be doing a xianxia episode, because I feel like it's time. And I really want to talk about that. So that's why I won't be mentioning any of that in this. When I say historical, to me, that is straight up historical with no, no fantasy. But I think wuxia would slot into this. I do think wuxia would work into historical because wuxia doesn't necessarily have, fantasy elements to it. So, like I said, that is just the categories that I take on. I don't think they are by any means, shape or form, accurate necessarily, but that's just how I like to categorize them and how I like to kind of slot my historical dramas. So without saying much more than that, now guys, there is some dramas that I won't mention in my main list of suggestions, and that is because I mostly have reviews on all of them. So that's why I'm not obviously going to be talking about them again when it's something that I have already talked about, if that makes sense. So I will obviously mention them at the end because if I've reviewed them, it tends to be dramas that I really, really love. So I will obviously have to mention them at the end. So the first one on this list is one that it took me far too long to watch, and I don't know why, because when I did watch it, I actually watched this as a group watch over on Discord, and we had the best time. We were basically watching a couple of episodes a week, and then we would get together and and kind of discuss them over on Discord through a voice chat, and we would just kind of like talk about it. So that was a lot of fun. And I do think next year, maybe in January, I might get the Discord crowd together again and kind of like choose a drama for us to do the same thing with again, because I think it's a lot of fun to do that. Just getting together with people and chatting. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in a voice chat room, just watching all together like a couple of episodes a week and then just discussing during the weekend, even if it's just like through text. That's a lot of fun. So I might, if you're on my Discord and you like this idea, let me know, because we could probably arrange something to do it again. But that's how I watched the 2019 drama Joy of Life. This is season 1, and I adored it. I don't think I can explain how much I liked Joy of Life. I didn't think I was going to like it this much. It's kind of like one of those dramas simply because it is all politics. There is romance in this, but it is not the main point of this drama by any means of the sort. I believe it or not, guys, I am of the opinion that the romance adds nothing to this drama, and in fact, it could be taken away and I would still love it as much as I do. I am not a fan of the romance in this, actually, mainly because I don't necessarily. I don't necessarily like the female lead, the character, and the actress as well. So it adds to that. But basically, so what is Joy of Life? I will explain it in very loose terms. So we have our male lead played by the brilliant Zhang Ru-yoon, and he plays the main lead, Fan Xian. So Fan Xian was raised by his grandma out in the countryside. His mother passed away when he was a baby, and he is son to a duke to a duke. So that is his story. One day, he gets collected from the countryside to go to the capital city. And in the capital city, a lot of shenanigans start to happen, and he gets pulled into these places that he doesn't necessarily want to be in. He gets pulled into not a war, but a battle almost for the throne, and he gets put up against some people who are very, very clever, and you start to see that there is a lot more to Fan Xian than meets the eye. He has a lot of modern day knowledge to him that shouldn't be present in him. So there is a whole arching plot behind the story, and it is brilliant. Like, the story is just so well interwoven. There is things in episode 40 that goes all the way back to episode 15. There's threads that just connect so incredibly well. But the thing that I also really love about Joy of Life is the fact that it is funny. Like, there's a lot of comedy in this, and it's not like heavy handed in the fact that it's almost embarrassing. That's not the case at all. The comedy is very tastefully done, and I actually really, really enjoy it. So I love it. It's available in a bunch of places. It's on Prime Video, it's on Viki, Tencent, and WeTV. Season 1 ends on the biggest cliffhanger ever. So this season 1 ended in January of 2020, and season 2 didn't come out until this year, 2024. So bless those people who watch this live, because guys, you are strong, because having to wait 5 years for it, oh my god, I could never. You did an amazing job waiting. I was very lucky. I finished season 1, and within about a week, season 2 came out, so I did not have to wait very long. There is a lot more to this story. It's not just what I explained, but I feel like this is one of those that you kind of want to go in as blind as possible, because it's so much more worth the ride if you do so. So other actors for this are Lin Chin, who does play the female lead, Lin Wen-R. Like I said, not necessarily a fan of her character either in season 1 or season 2. I much, much prefer Song Yi's character. She plays Fan Ruru, who is Fan Qian's sister, and oh my god, I adore her character. And then we have Chen Daoming as Emperor of Qing, and we have Wu Gang as Chen Pingping. So Chen Pingping is the leader of, like, I don't know what to call it, their agency that kind of like runs the country behind the emperor of sorts. So it's like basically the emperor and Chen Pingping right beneath him. So that's kind of like how it works. The politics in this are some of the best politics I have ever watched on my screen. The first season is 40 episodes, I believe. 46. So season 1 is 46 episodes, and then season 2 is just as good. I can't say anything about season 2 without spoiling it. Season 2 is 36 episodes. I highly, highly recommend it. Season 3 has already been announced. They will be doing a season 3. I cannot freaking wait. But season 2 ends on a note where I'm okay to wait for season 3. Whereas if season 2 had the same ending as season 1, I would be incredibly angry. I would be like, this cannot be. Like, how am I supposed to wait? So I'm okay with waiting. So this is probably going to be one of my. I loved season 2 just as much as I loved season 1. The acting in this is superb. There's really not a lot more I can say. So this one had to go on my list. So, this is what I would call a historical political drama. It is very heavily centered around politics, but there's still comedy to it, there's still lightness to it. There is a little romance in it, but again, the romance is not the main focus of it at all, to the point where actually there is long stretches of episodes where the main couple is not together at all, not even in the same city, and that works just fine for me. So, that's what I would call a straight up historical political drama. So, next up, we have something that I would akin to a historical light drama. And I love this. I love this drama. I actually do have a review on this one, but I haven't talked about it in a really long time. So, I thought I would put it on my list to talk about now. It is a 2022 drama, and I do have a review on it. All the way from last year, I believe. So 22, yeah, because I was already doing the podcast, and I believe I reviewed it in January of 2023. And this was airing from November 10th, 2022 to December 9th, 2022. And that is the Chinese historical drama New Life Begins. When I tell you guys, this is one of the best found family dramas that I've ever watched. It's absolutely that and more. Not only is it that, but it's very much a, what do I call it? A cis man's, so a women romance drama. Not that it's like GL based, that's not the case at all. There's couples, man and female couples. It's the found family between the female characters. That's what I'm trying to explain. So this drama, basically what it is akin to, I am going to read the MDL list simply because, again, it's been a couple of years since I watched it, 2 years to be precise, because I was watching this one on air. And the MDL description reads: because of a marriage selection, girls from all over the world gather in Xinchuan. Yin Zhang, one of the 6 young masters of Qin Xuan, who keeps a low profile, and Li Wei, who just wants to work hard and not get selected, live comfortably in this hometown. They unexpectedly form a relationship and together start a new life where they encounter numerous situations and complement each other in overcoming them. As Yin Zhang sets up a government office and goes to court, the two gradually develop similar tastes as their hearts become in sync. They share 3 meals and 4 seasons together and grow up with other brothers and sisters with different personalities and fates, living a warm daily life as a Xin Xuan family together. So, I actually should have just gone ahead and explained this because I feel like that's a lot of waffling. So basically, the story revolves around in the capital of this country, there is six princes, and each province kind of sends out a girl to marry one of the princes or to get selected to marry one of the princes. And every county of sorts does have to send one out, like a girl out. So our female lead is played by the beautiful Tian Shi Wei, and she plays the character Li Wei. And Li Wei does not want to get selected. She just wants to live her life with her parents and her brother at home. She's quite content in her sort of farmhouse. She's very happy where she is, but she has to go. Like it's the law, she has to go for this selection. So she gets paired up with the sixth prince, who is called Yin Zhang, and he is played by the brilliant Bai Jingting, and he is the kind of character who, on the outside, he's very sickly, and I say sickly in quotation marks because he appears to be sickly, but he's just, playing it on so that he can get through whatever he needs. He's a lot clever than he seems, but everybody kind of takes him for a dummy and a fool. And Li Wei at this point is just like, well, it's okay because he's dying anyways, so I can just, hang out with him for a bit, and when he dies, I can go back to my hometown. So that's kind of like the premise of the story. Now, the story then revolves around them growing up and kind of falling in love, but also you have all of these brilliant other characters. So you have the remaining five girls that are selected, and together with Li Wei, they become this beautiful cis-mens and this beautiful group of strong, independent women, and they actually start their own businesses, and it is beautiful. It is beautiful. And this is why I mean this is light historical, because this wouldn't necessarily at all happen in any dynasty. So that's what I mean when I say it's historical light, because it is, period costume, but it's not necessarily based on a specific dynasty or a specific time historical period. So, it's very easy watching, is just people becoming friends and family. And to this day, I still very much remember one of the ending scenes, and it is stunning. It's so beautiful. I adored it. I truly, truly did. So this drama is available on iQIYI and Viki, so it's easily accessible. It's 40 episodes. It's a very nice Sunday kind of watch. You just fall in love with all the characters. You truly do. There's not a lot of like backstabbing or anything like that, as there normally is in a lot of historical dramas. So, like I said, it truly is just a very nice, easy watch, and I love it for the found family. If you want like more thoughts and like fresher thoughts, I would scroll back a little bit on the timeline, and I believe it came out in January of 2023. That's when I released The New Life Begins, and was actually my very, very first episode that I had a guest on. So that was very fun. So next up is a C drama that I love, and it's a mix of light and political because there is some politics in it, but it's again a mix. It is a 2020 drama, and it is the drama Maiden Homes. Now, this is the basically the very first drama that Zhang Ling-he starred in, and it stars Zhang Ling-he and Sabrina Chen as our main couple, and I really, really liked it. I believe this was one of the very first dramas that I watched Zhang Ling-he in. I have been following him for a little while, and you will know more about that soon because he might be coming up in an actor's episode very, very soon. But basically, this is very much a crime. Not really. Is it really a crime? I suppose there is a crime to solve, but the genre is tagged as historical mystery, comedy, romance. And I would agree. And that's why I say it's like very much on the, lighter side, but there is some politics involved. And Yeah, it's 32 episodes, and the MDL description just says the young teenage prince Xiao Yanzi, a prodigal young military talent, is sent to ward off a force of invaders. Although he makes a valiant effort, his army is ultimately ambushed and defeated in decisive battle. An opportunist foe at the imperial court takes advantage of the situation, forcing Pei Yanzi to step down as head of the army, and manages to get a young subservient candidate to take the throne. Pei Yan Zi feels he was betrayed. He vows to get to the bottom of the intrigue and goes undercover to investigate, pretending to be a commoner to help him work undetected. On his quest for the truth, he meets a remarkably smart and resourceful young female detective named Su Si. Together, they form a close bond. They team up with two other quick witted young sleuths and make a joint bid to discover the scale of the scheming that has undermined the imperial palace. So as you can see, there is definitely politics. It is basically like our four main leads coming together and kind of like dismantling this big conspiracy. Obviously there is more. There is more to the female lead than meets the eye. There is more to the male lead than meets the eye. So I really, really liked it. I truly did. It is available on WeTV and Viki, so it is fairly easy to also access. So, next up on my list is a drama all the way back from 2021, and it is called The Sword and the Brocade. I loved this drama, but for particularly different reasons, actually. So, this is what I would call politics, but it's more in house concubine wife politics rather than court politics, although there is some of that. So, this one is one that is very much a historical drama because it is set in a proper period and dynasty of time. So the MDL description reads, set during the Ming dynasty, the story revolves around the romance between General Xu Ling Yi and the concubine's daughter Shi Yi Niang, that starts from an arranged marriage. I'm not going to go much more into detail. There's a lot there. It is an arranged marriage, historical, I would say. So for me personally, I really liked this drama, but not because of the romance. The romance is very slow, guys. If you're not a slow romance kind of person, this might not work for you. If you're just going in for that. The reason why I loved this so much is so the female lead for this is Tan Song Yoon, who you guys know I adore her. She also plays a main lead in Go Ahead and a bunch of other dramas, and I truly, truly adore her. She plays a character, Lu Shi Yi Niang, and she marries into the Shu family. And so our male lead is played by Wallace Chung, and he plays Shu Lingyi. Now, I am not the biggest fan of this male lead actor. I don't know what it is. I just think he's I don't know, maybe a little bit wooden when he's acting, and that's maybe my problem with him. Um, I don't think I've really watched much else of him, although he has been in a lot of stuff. He's been acting since 1993 was his first thing. So he's been acting for a really long time, and he is 49 years old. So Tang Song Yoon, there was a big age gap because Tang Song Yoon is 34. So they do have like a, 14, 15-year age gap, and that wasn't okay for a lot of people. It didn't really bother me too much because I think it's very different to have an age gap in like your 20s and your teens rather than your 30s. And I think the older you are, the less the age gap is as impacted. Does that make sense? Because like I feel like having an age gap in your 30s and in your 40s is very different to having someone in their 20s date someone in their 40s, if that makes sense. It's very, very different stages of life. So that's what I mean. Now, the reasons why I love this story is very much our female lead. Tan Song Yoon's character is just so incredibly good. She's very clever, very smart, she's very kind, and she does not want an arranged marriage. Right at the beginning, she does everything she can to kind of get away with it, but there's no escape. She has to do it. And then it's basically like there's a decline in this family, and it's her kind of really taking control of the family and bringing it about and becoming like a businesswoman and whatnot. So, if I was to say why I truly, truly enjoyed this drama, it is Tan Song Yoon's character and her journey and like her I don't know, just her journey to becoming who she is by the end of the drama. That is what I truly, truly adored about this drama, and what I would say makes this drama worth watching, in my opinion. So, like I said, romance is very slow. There's not a lot of like big swooping moments between our main couple, but there is a few. There's a little family that forms and it's adorable. So it's a good drama. Overall, it's a good drama. I would still recommend it, but I would caveat with, first of all, very, very slow drama, a very, very slow romance. And the reason you should be going into this one is because of the female lead journey and like how she deals with the house politics and the concubines and whatnot. I loved it. I truly, truly, truly loved it. In that aspect. Again, the male lead has his own storyline and there's like court politics with him, and I didn't think those were as good as the in-house politics that were happening with our female lead. So that's what I mean. That is so The Sword and the Brocade, and that is available in Tencent, WeTV, Prime Video, and Viki. So it's very widely available for this one. It is 45 episodes, so not too long. It's a fairly reasonable number for a historical drama. So the next one is the one that I was talking about earlier, and of course I had to talk about this one, guys, and that is The Romance of Tiger and Rose. This is light. This is just plain up costume drama, and I had a lot of fun with it. It is a Zhao Lu Shi drama. It is a Ding Yu Shi drama. Now, this is to this day still the only Ding Yu Shi drama that I've truly watched and truly enjoyed. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the actor or if it's the choices, but there's just something about him that hasn't clicked for me. I mean, but then again, it's Salushi. I will watch this woman in anything. Like, just sign me up. It's Salushi, enough said. I trust her and her characters, and I think this was a drama that truly, like, kind of catapulted her into a bigger stratosphere. I had a lot of fun with this one. It's 24 episodes, so right off the bat, you are getting a much less episode count. So the drama is basically our female lead, obviously played by Zhao Lushi. She plays the character Chen Qian Qian, and she is a TV series writer, and she's having the time of her life. Why? Because she has just sold her novel to be adapted into a TV show. And she really wants Han Shu, played by Ding Shi, our male lead, to be the male lead. And he agrees, but he wants to basically change a whole bunch of the novel. And our female lead is just like, I don't want to do this, but she's going to like adapt it. And she's like going to do that. In the process of doing this, she falls asleep at her computer and she wakes up in her novel. Not only does she wake up in her novel, but she wakes up as the second female lead who is meant to die in 5 episodes' time. So she has to deal with that because she's like, I don't want to die, but what is happening? What do I do? Obviously, she knows the whole story. It's her story. So it is a transmigration drama, and those were very popular for a while. Like 2020s, I feel like we had a lot of transmigration dramas, 2019, 2020 in C Drama Land, and this was one of those batched ones, but this was one of those better ones. Also, I find it very funny that the world that she gets transmigrated into is basically run by women. So she comes from the place where her world is run by women, and then there is a country next door who is the more traditional men run everything. So so our male lead in that world plays the character Still Hanshu, and he gets married into the female led country as, the prince to our female lead, Zalushi. So this is developed from that, and it's arranged marriage, and it's her trying to get back to her world. She has no idea, changing the story because she doesn't want to die, but then trying to get the story back on track so that she can finish the story. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And this is what I mean by those light dramas, because they are very light and breezy to watch. You could easily binge this. Like, this is a bingeable show. So that is the 2020 The Romance of Tiger and Rose. It's a Zhao Lushi classic. If you're a fan of hers, highly recommend this one. So next one is a historical political drama from my categories, but it is in-house politics again. So this is one that I honestly really don't hear barely any people talk about. And I feel that's sad. I feel that's sad. And I feel like that needs to have more to do with it. So that is the 2021 historical drama Marvelous Women. Now, this is a 35 episode historical. So guys, I'm giving you an option to watch a shorter, historical. I highly recommend this one. I really, really enjoyed it. Not only do you get to see a very different time period in China, because this is, I believe, I'm just trying to, yeah. So this is based on like Qing Dynasty, which we don't get a lot more in in more recent historical dramas. We don't get as many Qing Dynasty. Yes, that is the one where the males kind of have like half their head shaved, but guys, I think it still works. Okay, it's how it was back then. So what is this drama about? I am going to read the MDL description because, again, this has been one of those that's been a little while since I have watched it. The one thing I will say about this, you have a lot of more experienced veteran actors in this, and the female lead for this is a veteran actress. Her name is Jiang Chin Chin, and she has been acting for a long time. So all the way from 1994, she's been in a lot of dramas, and even a movie all the way back in 1993. So she is 49 years old, and I loved the fact that we had an older female lead. I truly, truly loved that. There's not as many of those nowadays, and I loved it. I just that alone was very, very interesting to me. So, what is this drama about? MDL's description reads: as China becomes a major commercial economy, the silk embroidering and weaving trade is booming, and a few influential families have risen to the top. The industry's powerhouse is the Gusu district in Suzhou, Jiangsu province, and arguably the greatest weaving dynasty of them all is the Ren family, which carefully guards the secrets of its weaving prowess. Chinese traditional culture dictates that males are the dominant force in society. As such, the head of the family is nominally Ren Shu Tang, a gentle hearted soul with love for poetry and philosophy, and no head for business. His wife of some 10 years, Shen Su Shi, is the polar opposite. Fiery, opinionated, and fiercely competitive, she keeps the family business firmly on track with her peerless embroidery skills. But when he tries to close the net on a ring of smugglers, Ren Shutang gets into trouble and encounters Zheng Baoqin, formerly the love of his life. Following the accident, Zheng Baoqin finds herself in the Ren family home and face to face with Shen Su Shi, her bitterest love rival. But hard times are ahead of the family as enemies circle, and it seems that only a partnership between these two women will help them avoid a painful fall from grace. Can they put their rivalry aside to cooperate, or will jealousy and love stand in their way? Now, guys, when I tell you this is about the females, this is about the females. Don't go in for the romance. This is not that drama. Um, the females lead this drama. The male leads are there because they're necessary for the plot and the story, but this is the female leads journey and story, and I adored it. I adored it because at the beginning you think, oh my god, this is going to be a very typical drama where you see two females fighting it out for the men and it's all about the men. No, 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 no. That is not the case here. These two, yes, it starts out as that, but it grows into so much more. And they put all of that aside and they're like, why the heck are we fighting over him? Like, why are we doing this? And I really liked it. I think if you go in for straight up romance, that is not what you're going to get. This colors outside the lines. It's very different. The way it wraps up is very different to anything you would have watched. The embroidery in this, guys, it is stunning. It is culture. It is China. It is so beautiful to watch. And I know I sound like some, I don't know, even know, but it's truly, truly beautiful to watch. The weaving and the embroidering and the silks, it's so, so beautiful. And this is a lot more focused on those aspects of the drama because that is a huge part of the story. Like I said, I loved it. I truly, truly did. I watched this while it was on air and I fell in love with it. I truly did. I fell in love with this female lead. It's a more mature story, I would say. It's not as fluffy, and like I said, it is different to what you would expect the story to be, for sure. These characters are not your clean cut, very goody two shoes kind of characters. They have depth to them, and they are at the end of the day human. And if you go through like if you go on MDL, the three main characters that come and are listed first are the three women, and I love it. So we have Jiang Qinchin who plays Shen Su. She is the protagonist. She is the most, the female lead. And then we also have Zhang He Wen, who plays Lin Shu Fang, and we have Yang Rong, who plays Zheng Baoqin. So those are like the three main female leads. I honestly, guys, I highly recommend it. This is available in a bunch of places on Youku, on Viki, on iQIYI, on Tencent, and it's also available on YouTube on the China Hunyo Entertainment official site. So that is all there. I loved it. I truly did. This is genres, so historical business life drama. And even like, I am not a big business person, but I loved this just because of what it's centered around. And you get beautiful scenes of them just sitting there and like weaving and doing their embroidery, but it is like on a whole different level. So I highly recommend this one. I feel like this is one of those dramas that is not well talked about, and it only has an 8 on MDL. It's only been rated by 422 users, and it's only been reviewed by 9 users on MDL. So there's really not a lot of people that talk about this one. But if you want to like start to dip your toes into more serious Chinese historicals, I would say this is a pretty good entry point. It is only 35 episodes, and you get to see a different side of it because, again, the focus is on the women versus it being on the men. And that is not necessarily always the case when it comes to historical dramas. So, that is Marvelous Women. Highly, highly recommend. Then we have a beautiful drama that I love, and I watched this a really long time ago. This is what I call another historical light drama, and that is A Girl Like Me. Now, this stars a male leader that I adore, and that is the male lead Neo Ho, or also known, so his actual Chinese name is Ho Ming Hao, but a lot of people know him as Neo Ho, and he plays the character of Rong Xia. And we have the female lead Guan Xiaotong, who plays Ban Hua. Now, Guan Xiaotong is one of those female leads that you don't see her a lot of the time, but she actually has an extensive, like an extensive what's the word I'm looking for? An extensive filmography. She has been around for a long time. 2004 seems to be like her first credit of sorts, and she's just been playing, character after character for a really long time, ever since she was quite young. And she's a really, really big actress in China, to the point that actually she's one of the highest paid endorsements in China out of actresses. She's just, I don't think, as well known outside of China to the, international audience. But I do like her. I've seen her in a couple of things and I do really like her. So, what is this one about? First of all, it is 40 episodes, so it's on the slightly longer side. So the drama, the MDL description reads: the beautiful Baroness, Duchess, Princess. She gets promoted a lot. Ban Hua has skirted martial bliss 3 times. Her straight shooting manner and explosive temper ensure that each relationship ended in disaster. For the potential grooms, despite her awful reputation, she's quite well meaning and thoughtful deep down. Of late, her dreams have been forecasting danger around every corner. She has interpreted them quickly in order to keep her family safe and to protect those around her. Her family changes forever when she meets Count Rong Xia, a young gentleman scholar whose family suffered a tragic fate. Rong Xia is on the hunt for answers regarding the past, namely the true identity of those responsible for his family's demise. Secret long kept from him, a friendship is formed, with Ban Hua determined to help Rong Xia learn the truth. As their alliance deepens, should this be the case of fourth time lucky for Ban Hua? So basically, our female lead is quite brash, and for some reason, every time she is courting or ready to get married, the groom dies. So, like, she has a terrible, what's the word I'm looking for? She has a terrible, luck, and basically everybody thinks she's cursed. And so she meets our male lead, and she also has these dreams that kind of foretell the future a little bit, and she uses them to keep her family safe. And they kind of enter into this relationship and, you know, try to discover what's happened to his family and where he truly comes from and all of this. So that's kind of like the story of the drama, just put it very plainly. I really, really liked it. She is very much a strong headed female lead. It's 40 episodes. I do remember thinking this one could have been a little bit shorter, but I still loved it. I will say the outfits in this, especially for our female lead, are beautiful. If you just go and see the poster, she is like in this bright, beautiful red dress. It is stunning. So that is, A Girl Like Me. It is a 2021 drama, and you can watch this one on WeTV, Viki, Tencent Video. So it's pretty available as well. Highly recommend. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun to watch, but it is, a light historical. There is politics, but a lot of the time it's just them having, going through and doing things. So next up, we have a 2023 drama, and the only reason I think this one isn't as talked about as much is because this one was really hard to find when it first came out. But now it is more widely available. It is on Prime Video and on HBO Max. And it is Scent of Time. This is a 2023 drama. It is 30 episodes and it stars Zhu Yi as Hua Qian, and you might have heard her from dramas such as Word of Honor. She was in Word of Honor. She was in Everyone Loves Me from 2024. She was in Love Me, Love My Voice from 2023. So she's been around. She's fairly new to the acting scene. And we also have the men of the hour that everybody loves right now, and that is the actor Wang Xingyu. He is in a lot of things, guys. The Double, Midsummer Snowstorm of Love, The Cooning Palace, Scent of Time. He's been around. He's fairly new to the scene as well, but I think this year he truly blew onto the scene with The Double, and everybody has kind of like caught on to the Wang Xingyu train. There might also be an episode coming up for him, just saying. So what is this drama about? So basically, it follows a story of our protagonist, played by Zoe, called Hua Qian, the daughter of a prominent herbal medicine family, once made a terrible mistake due to her infatuation with Zhong Yi Lan, a man who didn't love her back, leading to the downfall of her family. When fate takes a turn, Hua Qian wakes up to find herself back to her wedding night with Zhong Yi Lan. After experiencing life and death, Hua Qian has a profound realization and is determined to make amends for her past mistakes. This time, she values her family and friends, no longer entangled in her past emotional ties with Zhang Yilan, and instead she supports the love between Zhang Yilan and Mu Yao. She strives to guide her misguided family members back on the right path. Throughout this journey, past mysteries gradually come to light. Hua Qian also discovers Zong Shi Wu, who has silently protected her, and meets Hua Rong Zhu, who prioritizes her safety above all. So basically, it's kind of like one of those dramas where the female lead truly regrets her life, and then she gets a chance to go back and fix it all. Now, I really liked it. I liked the tension between the two characters. It was interesting. This is pretty angsty throughout it, but there is some comedy. Like, stuff is not going to go well. Now, obviously, I think a lot of people were not that happy with the ending. I didn't really mind it that much. I think they did the best they could with what they were given, as in censorship, guys. So, but even saying that, I really enjoyed it. I think these two had fire chemistry together. Now, again, this is one of those that if you go in for the romance, you're going to be sorely disappointed. That's not the point of the story. The point of the story is our female lead, her journey, and her acceptance of things and her growth. So that is the focus of this drama mainly. So if you're going in for that, then I think you'll have a great time. If not, then I don't think you'll enjoy it quite as much. So that is A Scent of Time. And then just lastly on my suggestions on my list of historical dramas that I've watched and enjoyed would be another historical light, and that is General's Lady. This is a lot of fun. The MDL description, all it says is a notorious general and aristocrat's daughter hold each other's hand to spend a lifetime together while protecting what's precious to them. Shen Jin grew up as an unfavored daughter of a royal family concubine. The emperor decrees an arranged marriage for her, choosing General Chu Xiu Ming, who defends the borders. Although she falls in love with her chosen spouse, she finds it difficult to find her place in her new home. So, it is a contract marriage. It is, there's a little bit of politicking going on in the background, but I still enjoyed it. It is 30 episodes and it stars Tang Min, who plays Shen Jin, and she's not really been in a lot of things, I don't think. So she's been in Love Forever Young, Medical Examiner Dr. Chin from 2022, Chef Hua. So she's been in a couple of things. And then we have Caesar Wu, who I do actually quite enjoy this actor. We don't really get to see him a lot of the time. He's in a lot of support roles. He has been getting more main roles recently. His dramas are not necessarily the best, I would say. So some are Egg and Stone, Sisterhood, Shining for One Thing. He was the support role in that, and I loved Shining for One Thing. So that is the male lead. This is just a lot of fun. I mean, she is very much a duck out of water in the sense because she's gone from living in the capital to even as an unfavored, daughter of a concubine, to then living in a general's house out in the countryside in the middle of nowhere, where he's fighting a lot of the time to protect the borders. So it's an adjustment for her, it's an adjustment for him. There's a lot of that happening, and it's still a lot of fun to watch. I really enjoyed it when I watched this one. It is so widely available. This is on Yoku YouTube, on the Yoyu English channel on YouTube, on Viki. There's quite a few places you can watch this one. This is one of those, again, where it is historical, comedy, romance, political. Again, there's some politics going on, especially towards the later half of the show. but it's a very, very easy drama to watch. You can fairly easily binge this one. So if you're looking to go into historical drama, this would probably be a very easy one to go into. So that is the 2020 Chinese drama General's Lady. And that concludes kind of my list of suggestions. These are ones that I've really enjoyed and I don't really have reviews on. But apart from New Life Begins, I do have a review on that one. But that one I haven't talked about it in a really long time, so I wanted to talk about it again. So that's kind of like my, historical dramas that I kind of watched. Again, that list was probably going to change and ebb over the next couple of months because I feel like I am ever more drawn to historical dramas and I'm enjoying them much, much more. It's actually become a genre that I really, really enjoy, which is funny because when I first started watching it, yes, I would watch the light ones and I would watch, the xianxu's and that sort of thing, which again, I don't necessarily classify. I classify that as like a subgenre of historical, if that makes sense. So I would watch all of those, but I wouldn't necessarily dip my toes into any of the heavier politics ones. And nowadays, I that's not the case for me. I really, really enjoy those. So just to wrap up the episode, I thought it would be fun to, dramas I have already reviewed. And there is one on this list which is going to give you a big clue to something that's coming next year. But I would be remiss to not mention it because it is one of my all-time favorites and I had to. And that is Love Like the Galaxy. So keep a pinhole in that one that may be heading your way next year at some point. So that's why I haven't mentioned it. If you're wondering, Liliana, how could you not mention Love Like the Galaxy? That is why. It is coming. There's something in the works for this drama in Tea and Soju. So that is why I didn't necessarily want to go through, a lot of it today because it's coming. Let's just put it that way. So the other dramas that have all got reviews on Tea and Soju and are historicals that are such good historicals that I have to mention them. So the first one would be The Double. I loved it. I just loved it. I not only did I review it for Tea and Soju, but I will be reviewing it again for another podcast that I kind of slipped into their DMs and was like, "Can I join you on this?" And that's how it came about. So I will be talking about The Double again very soon. And then we have Story of Cooning Palace, which guys, I was in love with this drama while it was airing. I loved it. It's one of those stories that I could rap on about for ages, and I did. I think I talked about this one with Porma on the Tea and Soju. We reviewed it last year, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. We have One and Only, which I also have a review for. I loved One and Only. It is quite tragic at some points, let's put it that way, but still very beautifully done. Then we have the classic Nirvana in Fire. This is one of those that I believe is really, really good, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it if you're a newbie to see dramas or if you're a newbie to historical dramas. Like, dip your toes in with some other dramas first and then be ready for Nirvana in Fire because Nirvana in Fire is politics. That is what it is. There's no romance, and if there is, it's like the tiniest, tiniest, tiniest thing on there. So it's very much there's a lot of characters, there's a lot of things to keep track of. So it's uses a lot of brain power. And if you're not kind of used to that, you might not necessarily get an enjoyment out of this drama as you would if you had watched other dramas beforehand, if that makes sense. So Nirvana in Fire was something that I watched this year and I reviewed it with Sarah from K Drama This and I loved it. I truly, truly loved it. And then the final one is The Princess Royal. I adored this drama so much. Yes, there was the second male lead got way too much screen time, and I think it kind of impacted the way that I felt about it, and it impacted my feelings on it, from it being one of my absolute favorites to it being a really good drama that I really loved. So it kind of made a difference. But even so, it was a drama that I really, really enjoyed. It might end up on my top of the year. I don't know yet. We've been having a very slow drama year, and whether that be in K drama land or in C drama land, I think it's just been from both sides this year. And I'm hoping like the last quarter of the year kind of improves that a little bit, because I'm dying for some really, really good dramas. And yeah, I think I'm still very excited to see what's upcoming. There's a lot of good stuff upcoming for next year as well on the docket. So I'm just looking forward to watching more and more historicals. I think again it's a genre that I'm growing to absolutely love, and it's very diverse. You can dive into wuxia, you can dive, which I would still consider, historical. Um I mean, some people might consider anything that's in period costume a historical drama, and then some people might say no, if it's not in a specific time period, then it's not a historical drama. It's a costume period drama. And there's like so many different ways to classify it. So I don't know. There might be some specific proper ways to put dramas into genres and categories, but that's, the way that I explained it at the beginning of the episode is just a way that I do it personally. Yeah, I think that is everything in this episode. That is all the dramas. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you've got any suggestions of must watch historical dramas, please let me know, because I really want to add them to my list. I have an ongoing list of like older ones and even more recent ones, but older dramas that I'm, wanting to make my way through and wanting to review them for the podcast. So if you've got any historical ones or just any dramas in general that you think, oh my gosh, I'd really love to hear an episode on tea and soju for this, then please send them my way. I'm always more than happy to like chat to you guys and, pluck ideas from you guys as well, because sometimes you get a little bit you don't know where to go with ideas. So I always love to, hear from you guys, and all the links are in the episode notes. So if you don't follow me on any of the socials, my DMs are always open. I don't know why, but apparently I have to accept DMs, but I always accept them. So if you have any questions or anything, let me know. Like I said, my DMs are always open. I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I shall catch you in the next one. Bye.